we continue our discussion on inventory models. We have so far seen two models. This is the diagram for the first model, where we consider continuous demand and no back ordering. In the second model, we considered back ordering and we derived expressions for the economic order quantity under both the assumptions. The economic order quantity for this model without back ordering is given by Q is equal to root over 2 D C naught by C C, where D is the annual demand, C naught is the order cost and C C is the unit holding or carrying cost. Now here there are two variables. One is the order quantity Q, which is actually this quantity, and then there is a back ordered quantity which is called S. There are two variables, and then the formula for economic order quantity Q under the assumption of back ordering with the back order cost of Cs is given by Q is equal to 2 D C naught by C C into C C plus C S divided by C S, and S, which is the back order level, is given by Q C C by C C plus C S. Both from this expression as well as otherwise, C C and C S have the same unit, which is rupees per unit per year. Here it is rupees per unit per year to hold 1 unit of inventory. This is rupees per unit per year of 1 unit back ordered. So C C and C S will have the same unit, so that we can add them. The expression from which we derived these two is given by total cost is equal to ordering cost plus inventory carrying cost plus back order cost, and this was simplified to D by Q into C naught plus Q minus S the whole square by 2Q into C C plus S square by 2Q into C S. So now we will take a numerical example to try and show the computations involved in using these formulae Q, S and T C. Earlier we had taken a numerical example to illustrate this, where we had assumed D annual demand is equal to 10,000 per year. We had assumed C naught, which is the order cost, as rupees 300 per order. The unit cost of the item was assumed to be rupees 20, and the inventory holding cost I is 20% of 20, and therefore C C becomes rupees 4. Now using these, we had calculated the economic order quantity for the first model, and we had got a value of 1224.74. Now we use the same data and we also introduce a CS, which is a shortage cost, and we use shortage cost of rupees 25 per unit per year. C C is 4 per unit per year. So we now compute these values. So we apply this formula to compute the economic order quantity. So Q is equal to 2 D C naught C C plus C S by C C C S. Since I have written the formula for both the models, so let me call this as some Q1, which is the economic order quantity for this system without back ordering, and let me call this as Q2 as the economic order quantity for this system, which includes and considers back ordering. So, we are now interested in computing this Q2. We already know that this Q1 is 1224.74, which was done in an earlier lecture. So, we compute Q2, we know all the values, 2 into 10,000 into 300, 4 plus 25 divided by 4 into 25. So, this on computation would give us Q2 is equal to 1319.09 and once we calculate this Q 1319.09, we go back and substitute here. So, this is 1319.09 into 4 by 4 plus 25. So, into 4 by 29 would give us S is equal to 181.9435, that would give us this value. Now, let us also calculate the total cost associated with this model and try and compare it with the total cost associated with the earlier model. The earlier model had only two components, which is the order cost and the carrying cost, and then the economic order quantity was 1224.74 and the total cost in this case was found to be 4898.98. So, let us also try and find out what happens when the back ordering is allowed and CS is introduced. Already we have seen that the order quantity increases from 1224.74 to 1319.09. A back ordered quantity of 181.94 is allowed, and let us calculate the total cost based on this. So, this component would give us 10,000 into 300 divided by 1319.09. Two 2274.43 plus Q minus S is equal to 1137.15. So, this quantity will become 1960.61 plus 313.68 and the total is 72. So, when we allow back ordering and if the back order cost is rupees 25 per unit per year, we observe that the order quantity Q increases from the old value of 1224.74 without back ordering to 1319.09. Quantity back ordered is calculated as 181.94. The total cost comes down from 4898.98 to 4548.72. So, first observation is that the total cost comes down. Second observation is that there are three components to the total cost. The order cost component is 2274.43, carrying cost component is 1960.6 and the shortage or back order component is 313.68. We also observe that this 2274.43 is exactly half of the total. Total is 4548.72. This is exactly half of the total. So, this contributes to half of it, this contributes to the other half of the total. So, in this model we are essentially trying to find out a Q or order quantity such that the total ordering cost is equal to the sum of the inventory carrying cost and the back order cost. In this model we found Q, the order quantity, such that the order cost component is equal to the inventory holding cost component. So, each was equal to half of the total cost. Now, in this case this is half of the total cost, these two put together will contribute half of the total cost. Now, because we allowed back ordering, the order quantity went up from 1224.74 to 1319.09. So, number of orders per year came down compared to the earlier one. The number of orders per year came down, therefore, total order cost came down. Now, the total cost is 2 times the order cost, here also total cost is 2 times the order cost, therefore, the total cost also comes down. Other way of describing it is, even though we order 1319.09, because of instantaneous replenishment we will place an order when we were here and then place an order for 1319.09, and as soon as the item arrives, which is instantaneous, the back ordered quantity of 181.94 is immediately given, and therefore, the inventory on hand quickly reduces to 137.15, which is the difference between this and this. So, the maximum inventory that we will hold is 1137.15 as against 1224.74. Also, the period for which we will be holding the inventory will be far less in this case, because when we divide by 1224.74 we have a certain period. When we divide by 1319.09, the whole period comes down, this period comes down, and we also realize that this maximum inventory is not held for this period, but it is held for a smaller period. Therefore, the average inventory comes down and the inventory holding cost comes down. So, the order cost comes down, the inventory holding cost comes down, but there is a back order cost which is not there in this model, which comes by holding the quantity of 181 for a much smaller period. So, the back order cost contributes to another 313.68, but as I mentioned earlier, the total cost effectively comes down, and in this model we are trading off with order cost on one side and inventory holding plus back order cost together will be equal to the order cost at the optimum. Now, this actually points us to a very interesting question. Now, this is a model which did not allow back ordering, this is a model that allowed back ordering. So, when we allow back ordering, we seem to get a lesser total cost, we seem to be holding lesser quantity for a lesser period in inventory. So, on the face of it, by merely looking at these numbers, one would be tempted to agree and believe that the model with back ordering is desirable. If we have to make a decision only based on the total cost, then we might say yes, the model with back ordering has lesser total cost. Now, this also happens because if we look at it as an optimization problem, now this is a problem that allows back ordering, this is a problem that does not allow back ordering. So, this is a restricted version of this problem where you are putting an additional restriction that back ordering is not allowed. This is a relaxed version where back ordering is allowed, and it is only obvious that in a minimization problem the restricted version will have an objective function value higher than the relaxed problem. So, the first model will have total cost higher than the second. But then we need to answer this question, should we always go for this model or should we go for this model? Now we can try and do a little more experiment with this model, try and show some more computations, and then we would actually realize that if we keep increasing the CS, for example, the shortage or back order cost was defined at 25 per unit per year. Suppose we make it 100 per unit per year, what will happen? I am not going to show the computations, but what I am going to tell here is that if we increase the CS, then automatically what will happen is this cost will also increase, and this will come closer to this 4898.98. And if we increase CS, the order quantity will decrease from 1319.09. The total cost will increase and come closer to 4898.98. Now as we keep on increasing the CS, this quantity will keep coming down, this will come down, this total cost will go up, and when CS is equal to infinity, this will take a value 1224.74, this will take a value 0, and this total cost will be equal to this total cost. This Q will be equal to that Q. That is also clear because when we can rewrite this as 2D C naught by Cc into 1 plus Cc by Cs. So when Cs is infinity, Cc by Cs will become 0. So 1 plus Cc by Cs is 1. Therefore when Cs is infinity, this will become 2D C naught by Cc, which is the same model. So only when the back order cost is kept as infinity, which implies that back order is not allowed, we will automatically get the other model. As long as the back order quantity is anything smaller than infinity, however large it may be, this model will always give a total cost slightly lower than this model. But the actual way to look at it is, unless we are absolutely sure about the correctness in the computation of CS, and we know that this is exactly the back order cost, and let us say we have included the loss of goodwill and all those intangible or costs that cannot be measured easily, let us say we have measured all the costs, and if the organization is very clear that this is my back order cost and this is exactly what I am going to incur, there is going to be no delay to the customer, therefore there is no cost associated with this. If you are sure about all of that, only then this model can be used straight away. If you are not sure, and if there are some more uncertainty where there could be a delay because of this back order, and we are not able to estimate the cost of such a delay accurately, we can either give a very large value for this, or to be on the safe side, if we do not want to have back order at the planning stage itself, we would rather give value equal to infinity and go towards the first model. The second model is very important. The second model has to be used very carefully, and unless we are sure of the assumptions of the second model, it is always good to go back to a situation where back order is not allowed, at least during the planning stage. So that is the reason why we look at two types of inventory models, particularly for bought out items. We will now look at another aspect of it, which is called discount. Now in order to explain the discount model, we will be looking at this model and we will not be considering this model. Now when we have a single item and we buy this item, let us assume we are working with this data where the annual demand is 10,000, order cost is 300 and so on. We have already found that the economic order quantity is 1224.74 and the total cost is 4898.98. Now, when we consistently buy the same item from the same vendor, or when we are buying a larger quantity, the vendor, we would ask for a discount and the vendor would offer a discount invariably when the buying quantity is large. So, let us look at a situation where the vendor is offering a discount for this, and then we need to evaluate whether we will accept the discount or we will reject the offer of discount. Now, let us assume that the vendor is willing to give a 2% discount when the order quantity Q is greater than or equal to 2000. Now, if we go back to the derivation of this Q1, the derivation, when we derived the expression for Q1, we first said that we would consider there were 4 costs: the order cost, the carrying cost, the back order cost and the cost of the item. Now, this model does not allow back order. So, we looked at the 3 costs and wrote the expression TC is equal to D by Q into C naught plus Q by 2 into CC plus D into C. Now, this is the ordering cost component, this is the inventory holding cost component, this is the cost of the item per year. Since the variable was how much to order and the variable did not figure in this D into C, in our derivation we left it out because D into C is a constant, we left it out and then we derived this expression. But now, if we want to consider this order, this discount offer for a quantity of 2000 or more, now let us consider that we are looking at whether to accept the discount at 2000. We will then address the situation whether we will accept the discount at a quantity greater than 2000. Now, if we are interested in quantity of 2000 and we want to avail the discount, now at any order quantity which is different from 1224.74, the sum of these two, D by Q into C naught plus Q by 2 into CC, which represents the total cost of ordering and holding, will definitely be more than the 4898.98 because we have derived 1224.74 as the optimum value where this total function is minimum. So, this D into C is also a constant. So, when we increase the order quantity from 1224.74 to say 2000, this part is going to go up, and if this were a constant, it would never be economical to avail it, but then there is a discount. Now, because of the discount, the C now takes a new value. It is not 20 anymore, but it is 2% of 98% of 20 with a 2% discount. So, the increase in this, if it is offset by the gain here, or if the gain here is more than the increase in this, then it would be advantageous for us to avail the discount. There is also a very small component which needs to be looked at. It depends on how we are going to define this CC. We have already seen that this CC can be defined in two ways. One is as CC or as I into C. So, if we now define this CC as I into C, and if we are interested in an order quantity of 2000, now at 2000 this carrying cost will also come down slightly because this C also changes slightly. So, there will be an overall increase in D by Q into C0 plus Q by 2 into IC, but that overall increase will also have a very small decrease because of this decrease in C, but then this increase has to be offset by the gain because of the discount. So, let us first look at, can we avail this discount at 2000? Before that, let us answer this question, are we going to avail, we are not going to get this discount at all for any quantity up to 2000, and for any quantity up to 2000 the total cost will be the lowest at the economic order quantity of 1224.74. So, we should look at 2000. So, when we look at 2000, so at 2000 Tc is equal to, now d by q is 5, 10,000 divided by 2000 is 5, 5 into C naught is 1500 plus q by 2 is 1000, q by 2 is 1000. Now, IC is 20% of rupees 4 into 98%, because at quantity of 2000 the unit price is not 20, but it is 98% of 20. Therefore, q by 2 into I into C will become 1000 into, q by 2 is 1000, I is 0.2 into 20 into 0.98. plus D into C 10,000 into 20 into 0.98. So, this on computation would give us 1500 plus 3920 plus 196,000, which is 201,420. Now, this cost has to be compared with what is the cost that we would incur if we had ordered 1224.74. So, this is at 1224.74, Tc was equal to 4898.98 plus 20 into 10,000, which is 204898.98. So, the total cost at economic order quantity is 204898.98. The total cost at an order quantity of 2000 and availing a 2% discount would give us a total annual cost of 201,420. This is lesser than 204898.98. Therefore, it is profitable to avail the discount at 2000. So, we have answered the first question as to whether we will accept it at 2000. Now, we have to answer another question, whether we will accept it at a quantity greater than 2000. For example, even at 3000 we will get that 2% discount. So, is it advantageous to avail it at a quantity of 3000? And in order to do that, we should go back and do 10,000 by 3000 into 300 plus 3000 by 2 into 0.2 into 20 into 0.98 plus 10,000 into 20 into 0.98. So, this portion is going to remain the same, but then we have to check whether this one decreases so that we could avail. In order to do that, let us go back to another curve that we have already seen, which is called the total cost curve. We have already seen that the total cost curve is very flat near the economic order quantity. So, let us say this is the economic order quantity and this is 1224.74, and then at 2000 let us say we are getting this discount. So, this we are going to get this discount. So, it comes down a little bit. I have not actually given you the y axis cost. The y axis now is the order cost plus carrying cost plus cost of the item. So, this is total cost is equal to order cost plus carrying cost plus D into C, which is the item cost. So, we realize that at 2000 it actually comes down, becomes lower than this. This is your 204898.98. This value is your 201420. So, this is here, and then if you see carefully, the total cost will go up. Therefore, from the very nature of this graph, we will understand that it is not necessary for us to see whether we are going to avail it at 3000 or any value higher than the point at which there is a discount. So, the point at which there is a discount is called the price break point. So, the price break point is 2000, and therefore, we need not evaluate it at 2001 or 2 or 3000 or any value greater than that price break point to avail that discount quantity. Now, let us assume that the vendor is giving us another price break point, and the vendor says that he can give a 3% discount if the order quantity Q is greater than or equal to 5000. So, we have to do the same calculations. So, at 5000 what is the total cost? At 5000 TC is equal to D by Q into C naught. So, there will be two orders, 10,000 divided by 5000 is 2. So, 2 into C naught is 600 plus Q by 2, 2500 into Cc, which is 0.2 into 20 into 0.97 plus 10,000 into 20 into 0.97. So, this will become so the first one is 600 plus 9700 plus 194000. So, this is 204300. So, to show it in this graph, let us say 5000 is somewhere here, 5000 is somewhere here, let us say. So, it goes up say 5000 is here. So, it goes up. Now, there is another price break. So, it comes down and somewhere in the middle, this is still minimum, this is 4898. So, it comes somewhere up to here say, and then it keeps moving like this. So, this is still the optimum price break point, and therefore, we will not accept this, we would accept a 2% discount at 2000 and we will not accept a 3% discount at 5000. So, wherever there is a price break, it is necessary to compare the total cost at the price break, not at any other point. The only other part is the case where there is a price break before the economic order quantity. Let us say there is a 0.5% discount at 1000, then in such situation we will try and avail that 0.5% discount not at 1000 but at 1224.74. So, if there is a discount at a quantity before the economic order quantity, then we will try and avail that discount at the economic order quantity. If there is a price break after the economic order quantity, we will try and avail it at the price break point. It is generally customary that price break points are for quantities higher than the economic order quantity, but it so happens that there is a price break point before the EOQ. For example, there is a 0.5% discount at say 1000, which means it is going to come down here, it is going to go further down till it reaches the economic order quantity and proceed. The other minor adjustment there is that the economic order quantity can also shift a little bit, because if there is a 0.5% discount at 1000, then the quantity changes from 2 into 10,000 into 300 divided by 4, which is the original one, which gave us a value of 1224.74. Now, if there is a 0.5% discount at 1000 that we wish to avail at the economic order quantity, then the economic order quantity will shift a little bit, it will become 2 into 10,000 into 300 divided by 4 into 0.995 if there is a 0.5% discount. So, it will become slightly more than 1224.74. It may come to around 1224.85 or maybe close to 1225. Actually, physically there will not be too much of a change, but if you look at it from the computation point of view, there will be a slight increase in the economic order quantity, and we will avail the discount at the new economic order quantity. So, this is how we handle the discount. The discount problem always involves computation of a total cost, which also includes the cost of the item, because the gain in any discount comes from the reduction in D into C, which was otherwise a constant because C was not a function of Q. Now, in the discount problem, the item price C is a function of Q, and therefore, C will change and D into C will also start influencing the calculation of the order quantity. So far, the discount model that we have seen is called an all quantity discount. By which we mean that if you order a quantity of 2000, then for every item that is ordered, the cost is not rupees 20, but it is 98% of 20, which is rupees 19 and 60 paise. For each one of the 2000 units, the price is at 19 rupees and 60 paise. Now, we could also have something called marginal quantity discount. So, let us look at that. Now, let me write the marginal quantity discount. So, we could have something called marginal quantity discount. Now, in marginal quantity discount, the vendor may say that if you order for Q greater than or equal to 2000, let us say the vendor may give us let us say it is 5% from the 2000th item and say 10% from 5000th item. What is the difference? The first difference is this: if we order 2000 items in the all quantity discount, now all the 2000 items are now priced at, let us compare these two cases, an all quantity discount of 2% versus a marginal quantity discount of 5%. If we order say 3000 items, then all the 3000 items will be priced at 19 rupees 60 paise. Now, if we order 3000 items here, the first 2000 items will be priced at 20. The next 1000, which is after the 2000th item, the next 1000 are now going to be priced at 95% of 20, which is 19 rupees. So, at Q equal to 3000, only the item cost per year or at time of ordering, if we order 3000, the item cost will be 3000 into 19 rupees 60 paise. Here it is 2000 into 20 plus 1000 into 19. So, the gain in the marginal quantity discount is slightly lesser than the gain in the all quantity discount, and for that reason you will see that the discount is higher in the marginal quantity than in the all quantity discount. So, let us work out this problem with marginal quantity discount of 5% from the 2000th item and 10% from the 5000th item. The derivation will be as follows: Tc is equal to d by q C naught plus Vj minus q minus Qj into Cj into I by 2 plus d by q into Vj plus q minus Qj into Cj. This on differentiation would give us q is equal to root over 2d into C naught plus Vj minus Qj Cj divided by I into Cj. Now, let me kind of explain this a little bit, and then it is also obvious that when we differentiate this with respect to q, we are going to get this one. Now, as I said, there are three components. There is an order cost component, there is a inventory carrying cost component, and then there is a cost of the item component. Now, order cost is very clear, d by q into C naught. Q is what we are going to order. So, d by q is the number of orders per year, d by q into C naught is the order cost. Now, what is the carrying cost? Carrying cost originally is q by 2 into Cc. Now, here what we are going to do, we can write it as q by 2 into I into C. Can also be written as Qc by 2 into I, where C is the unit price of the item, Q is the order quantity, QC is the money value of the order quantity. So, now let us look at order cost as the money value of the order quantity by 2, which is the average, into I. So, I by 2 is separated, I by 2 is separated. Now, this is the money value of the quantity ordered. Now, by the very definition of a marginal quantity, if we are looking at this case 2000 and 5% for a quantity above 2000. For example, if we are calculating for 3000, we would do 2000 into 20 plus 1000 into 19. So, which is given by this kind of a thing. Vj is the value for the first 2000, Q minus Qj, 3000 minus 2000, which is 1000, into Cj, which is the new value 19. So, this is the expression for the money value for the item that is bought. So, that into I by 2 is the inventory holding cost, and this is the money value per order. Per order, this is the value. The number of orders per year is D by Q. So, the total annual value will be D by Q into this. So, this on differentiation would give us this total value for the economic order quantity. Now, let us work out the same problem for the marginal discount, and if we do that, now the first one is at the economic order quantity at EOQ, Q is equal to 1224.74 and TC will be 204898.98. There is no discount. So, 4898.98 comes from here. The cost of the item is 200,000. So, 204898.98. At 2000, at Q equal to 2000, now we need to substitute. So, you get 2 into 10,000 into 300 plus 2000 is the gain. For example, at 2000, 5% of 20 is 1 rupee. So, Vj minus Qj Cj is 2000 into 1. For example, at 2000, if I had not availed the marginal discount, I would have paid 20 rupees. If I avail the marginal discount, I pay 19 rupees. Therefore, 2000 into balance 1, that is our Vj minus Qj Cj. So, that is, so this quantity at 2000, I should not say at Q equal to 2000, at 2000 Q is equal to root over 2 into 10,000 into 300 plus 2000 divided by 3.8, because there is a 5% discount. So, 4 becomes 3.8. So, this on computation gives us 3479.26. So, if we really want to use this marginal discount of 5% from the 2000th item onwards, the best deal we will get is if we order 3479.26 items, out of which the first 2000 items will be priced at 20 and the balance 1479 items will be priced at 19. Now, the total cost associated with this will be, now this part is easy, D by Q into C naught is easy. So, 10,000 into 300 divided by 3479.26 plus I by 2 into money value of 3479.26. So, 0.2 by 2 I by 2 into money value of this. So, the first 2000 is at 20. So, 20 into 2000 plus 19 into 1479.26, that is the money value. Plus this money value, this will be 10,000 divided by 3479.26 into 20 into 2000 plus 19 into 1479.26, and all of these put together would give us 203421.28. We get 203421.28. So, this is the total cost that we will incur if we want to avail this portion of 5% for a quantity of 2000. Now, this is actually cheaper than 204898.98. Now, we have to evaluate what is the best deal we get if we try and utilize this, and then we have to compare that with 203421.28 and choose the one which is cheaper. We will show those computations in the next lecture.